Welcome to the deep dive. We pull out the insights and the key knowledge from stacks of sources, all for you. Okay, picture this with us. It's 1519. You've got maybe 600 guys, Spanish conquistadors, right? Standing on the beach in Veracruz, Mexico. Behind them, the ships that just brought them across the Atlantic ahead. Just the massive, powerful, completely unknown Aztec Empire.
Yeah, a pretty daunting scene.
Totally. And right there, their leader, Hernán Cortés, he makes this call, this decision that, wow, it just echoed down through history. The order, burn the boats.
Yeah.
Now, hold on. Before you imagine this huge bonfire on the beach, it wasn't exactly like that, not literal fire. But the act itself, destroying their only way back, that was absolutely real. And the symbolism, powerful stuff.
And that's what we're diving into today, isn't it? We're going past that popular image to figure out what really happened there on the coast. Why did Cortés make such an extreme, kind of risky choice?
Chris.
And how did that single act, well, how did it basically kickstart the whole conquest of Mexico? We've got sources, eyewitness accounts like Bernal Diaz del Castillo, plus modern takes to help us piece it together.
And what's wild is, okay, this happened 500 years ago, but the idea of burning the boats, you hear it all the time now. Like in business, go all in, or in sports, leave it all on the field.
Right. It taps into something fundamental.
Exactly. It's about commitment, like removing your own safety net.
Yeah.
And that psychology, that's something we really want to dig into. So, yeah, let's step back into 1519.
Okay.
All right, so 1519, Spain is... Well, it's a big deal on the world stage. Columbus had sailed maybe a generation before, opened things up, and Spain's busy setting up shop in the Caribbean.
And Cortés fits right into this picture. Born 1485, Medellin. He wasn't some rookie, though. He spent years in Hispaniola, then Cuba, kind of cutting his teeth. People knew him as smart, ambitious.
Yeah.
Definitely ruthless.
But here's a key thing, right? This whole expedition to Mexico, it wasn't actually approved?
Not officially, no. That's crucial. The governor of Cuba back then, Diego Velázquez, he really didn't trust Cortés. He actually tried to stop him, to pull the plug on the whole thing.
But Cortés just went anyway.
He basically jumped the gun, sailed before Velázquez could really enforce the order. And that tells you a lot about Cortés from the get-go. Defiant, determined.
Yeah, like this wasn't just Spain conquering territory. This was also about him, about Cortés making his own mark, even if it meant disobeying orders.
Precisely. His personal ambition is driving this just as much as any imperial mandate.
Okay, so flash forward. April 1519. They land near Veracruz. Lush coast, lots of indigenous communities around. But then they start hearing things.
Whispers at first,
Yeah.
then more concrete reports.
Yeah.
About this huge empire inland, the Aztecs.
And this wasn't just some small kingdom. We're talking millions of people ruled from this capital city to Tenochtitlan.
Yeah, and Cutzetlan, I mean, try to picture it. The descriptions we have are incredible. Not like anything most Europeans had seen. Think Venice meets Paris, maybe.
Yeah.
Markets, huge causeways, palaces, canals. It was apparently bigger, more organized than many European cities at the time.
So put yourself in the shoes of one of those 600 soldiers. You're hearing about this city, these millions of people.
The numbers are just staggering.
Right. 600 of us versus millions. You can practically hear the guys muttering, maybe we should just sail back to Cuba.
And Cortés, who was known for being pretty sharp about reading people,
Yeah.
he saw it. He saw the doubt creeping in. He knew the morale was shaky.
He knew he had to do something drastic.
He did. And this leads us right to that legendary moment.
The moment. He gets his men together, gives the order, destroy the ships. Now again, the popular image is flames, right? Big bonfire.
Yeah, the Hollywood version. But the reality, according to Bernal Diaz del Castillo, he was actually one of Cortés's soldiers. Wrote about it later. It's a bit more practical.
Okay, so what did Diaz say happened?
Cortés basically argued the ships weren't seaworthy anymore, that they were unfit. Then he had his most loyal men dismantle them, break them up, sink them. They salvaged ropes, sails, nails, anything useful. They did keep one small vessel, just in case of extreme emergency, but the main fleet, gone.
So no fire, but the effect. The
Yeah.
effect was exactly the same, yeah.
Identical. No ships meant no escape, no going back. The message was crystal clear, even without flames. Cortés basically said, look, we're here, we conquer or we die here. The only way is forward.
Wow. Just imagine hearing that. 1 minute you think, okay, worst case, we sail home. The next minute you're watching your ride get broken apart on the beach. That realization must have been terrifying. It's literally do or die now.
Absolutely terrifying. And you raise a good point. Wouldn't that just cause panic? Maybe even mutiny?
Yeah, seems like a huge risk. Why wouldn't they just turn on him?
Well, Cortés was betting on a kind of psychological principle. Something we now might call commitment and consistency. Once you take a big, irreversible step, especially publicly, Your brain kind of forces you to justify it, to commit even harder.
Ah, like cognitive dissonance. You can't hold two opposing ideas. This is crazy and I'm stuck here. So you lean into, okay, I guess we're doing this.
Sort of, yeah. By removing the option of retreat, he removed the mental energy wasted on thinking about retreat. All focus, all energy had to go forward. It's a brutal tactic, but psychologically, well, pretty clever. It forced unity, in a way.
Okay, so it's about forcing commitment in his men. But what else was driving such an extreme move? There had to be more to it, right?
Oh, definitely. For Cortés himself, this is also about survival. Political survival, anyway.
Because he disobeyed Velázquez back in Cuba.
Exactly. If he went back, he was facing arrest, maybe worse. By destroying the ships, he wasn't just trapping his men in Mexico, he was trapping himself, too. He was cutting his own ties back to Cuba, burning his own bridges, you could say.
So it forces his own hand, too. No turning back for him either.
Right. And it was also a power play. Think about it. If this conquest succeeds, who gets the credit?
Him, Cortés.
Precisely. By making retreat impossible, he ensures his men stay with him. No one can easily desert to a rival faction. Nobody can sail off and try to claim part of the glory later. It locks everyone into his venture.
It's that classic no safety net strategy, isn't it? Remove the backup plan, and people have to focus everything on making plan A work.
It's a timeless principle, yeah.
Yeah.
You see it echoed throughout history, in military strategy, even in business startups sometimes. Remove the option to quit easily, and commitment intensifies.
But doesn't that also kill flexibility? What if, like, a tactical retreat was actually the smart move later on? Hadn't he just removed that option completely?
He absolutely had. And from a standard military textbook view, that's a massive gamble. But Cortés seemed to believe that the psychological gain from total commitment outweighed the strategic loss of flexibility.
He was betting everything on forward momentum.
Everything. He seemed convinced that this level of no turning back would unlock a level of effort and maybe even alliances that a more cautious approach wouldn't. It was all or nothing.
Okay, so no ships, no choice but forward. They start marching inland. And this is where Cortés really shows his strategic chops beyond just the shock value, right?
Yes, because it wasn't just about Spanish bravado. He was smart. He immediately started looking for allies.
And he found them.
He did. And this is absolutely key. Many local groups, like the Totonacs near the coast and later the Tlaxcalans, they really resented Aztec rule. The Aztecs demanded tribute. They took captives for sacrifice. There was a lot of bad blood.
So these groups saw the Spanish not just as invaders, but maybe as liberators, or at least useful allies against the Aztecs.
Exactly. They were willing to join forces. And these alliances were game-changing. They provided thousands of warriors, food, guides, intelligence about the terrain, about Aztec politics. Cortés couldn't have done it without them.
That local support was crucial. Okay, so fast forward again, November 1519. Cortés, his Spaniards, and their thousands of indigenous allies, they reached Tenochtitlan.
And the accounts of that arrival, just wow. Imagine seeing that for the first time. This incredible city on a lake, causeways, temples, aqueducts, bustling markets.
It must have just blown their minds. Nothing like it in Europe.
For most of them, yeah, completely alien and awe-inspiring. But of course, that awe, it didn't last. It quickly turned towards conquest.
Right. Things get complicated fast. Betrayal, fighting, sieges.
Brutal stuff, and disease, of course. Smallpox, brought by the Europeans, absolutely ravaged the Aztec population who had no immunity. By 1521, after a long, bloody siege, Tenochtitlan fell. The Aztec Empire collapsed.
And Spain establishes New Spain. A whole new chapter begins.
And it's staggering to think this whole massive world-changing sequence of events, you can trace its ignition point right back to that decision on the beach at Veracruz. Destroy the ships, no retreat.
Which brings us to the legacy. Because that moment, burn the boats, it really has taken on a life of its own, hasn't it?
It absolutely has. It's become this potent metaphor.
You hear it everywhere. Business leaders saying, we need to burn the boats on this project, meaning go all in, no plan B.
Sports coaches yelling it at halftime, give everything, hold nothing back.
Self-help gurus talking about burning the boats of your old life, your excuses, your fears.
It's shorthand for total commitment, for pushing past hesitation.
But we have to ask, right, while it's motivational, what's the other side of that coin?
Well, yeah, let's be real. For Cortés's actual soldiers, it wasn't just inspiring, it was terrifying. Suddenly you're trapped in a potentially hostile land with no way out.
And for the Aztecs and all the other indigenous peoples of Mexico, that act was the start of something catastrophic. Conquest, colonization, disease, centuries of upheaval.
Exactly. So the legacy is Well, it's deeply dual, isn't it?
Yeah.
On one hand, you can see it as this brilliant, decisive act of leadership, a psychological masterstroke.
But on the other hand,
It's the opening move in a brutal conquest that led to immense suffering and the destruction of entire civilizations. You can't separate the two. It holds both legacies.
we've talked about how it wasn't literal fire. Cortés dismantled and sank the ships. So why? Why has burn the boats stuck so firmly in our minds, even more than the slightly less dramatic truth?
It's about the power of narrative, isn't it? Burn the boats is just punchier. It creates this incredibly vivid, dramatic image in your head.
Yeah, like a mental shortcut.
Exactly. It taps straight into primal feelings: fear, commitment, desperation, the point of no return. Dismantle the ships to prevent desertion and salvage useful materials. Well, it just doesn't have the same ring to it, does it?
Yeah. No, definitely not. History love a good soundbite, I guess.
It does. And like so many historical moments, the story gets polished over time. It becomes a parable. The messy details fade, but the core message, that idea of irreversible commitment, that still hits hard today, even if the fiery image isn't quite factually accurate.
So when we look back at Cortés, what's the final picture?
Oh, incredibly complex. Brilliant strategist, yes. Ruthless conqueror, absolutely. Driven by immense personal ambition, no question. He defied his superiors, he inspired this fierce, maybe terrified loyalty in his men, and he completely changed the course of history on a continent.
And that act, burning the boats, whether literal or not, it really boils down to human psychology, doesn't it?
Fundamentally, it's about that moment, that conscious decision to close off your escape routes, to force yourself and those around you to face what's ahead with everything you've got, because there's simply no other choice.
And maybe that's why the story, the legend, has lasted 500 years. It's not really about the ships or the fire, it's about the fear. And maybe the strange kind of courage that kicks in when you realize there's truly no going back.
That point of irreversible commitment.
So as you, our listener, think about all this, maybe consider this question. What metaphorical boats might you need to burn in your own life? What escape routes might you need to close off to truly commit to something important, to finally move past an obstacle?
Something to ponder.
Definitely. Well, that's our deep dive for today. Thanks for joining us on this trip back to 1519. Until next time, keep digging, keep asking questions, and maybe think twice before you literally burn any boats.
Good advice.